work with.
Show open. All right, here we go. Welcome back to the talk show with yours truly, Jason Takhtadjian. We are here to talk about all things that are going on in the Central Valley, especially with the Armenian community and people who are connected to the Armenian community. And today we have a very special guest, actually. We have the main anchor for the morning show,
Hi,
Taryn
everyone.
Mitchell for KC24 News. Taryn, how are you?
I'm good. Let's take a second because we've been talking about this.
Yes,
and
we have.
We manifested. We did.
You did. Yes, you did.
You did too.
I did as well.
It finally happened. So thank you.
Yes,
I'm excited
absolutely.
To do this.
No,
Yeah.
this is actually really cool because you get to have the opportunity to, chat with you and learn a little bit about, your background, about your connection with, maybe the Armenian community, especially with me and you, and also just about, what's going on with your life. And, this is an opportunity for viewers to learn and also for me to learn a little bit about,
and
a friend of mine.
Back history, me and Jason don't see each other at all because you're night side, I'm morning. So completely different sleep schedules, work schedules. So this is kind of a rarity right now.
No,
so
this
I'm
is
excited.
absolutely a rarity. And this is just a pleasure to have you here because
Thank
like you
you.
said, I start at 3 o'clock, you finish at 12 o'clock. We have very minimal time to see each
And
other.
also,
But when we do,
we can go months without seeing each other too. So that's
we
the
can,
funny
and then
thing.
all of a sudden when we see each other, it's like, we see each other again.
Heyo.
Or
How's
as you say, Jason.
Jason.
That's
That's for another the talk show show.
Oh,
We'll
yeah?
talk about that backstory.
Oh yeah. We'll talk about that backstory even during this show if we get a chance to. But
Sure.
I wanna learn a little bit about you and your
Sure.
background because you are again the main co-anchor on KC24 mornings and for the midday.
Yeah.
And you didn't start too long ago, about a couple years ago, right? Is that fair to say?
It's been my anniversary was 2 years about a month ago, which is wild. So
The
crazy.
time flies, right?
I know. Well, and I'm on a 3-year contract, so we're in the last year, but I'm really happy. So we'll see.
That's awesome. So you did start your career though. What was it, like 6-7 years prior?
Yeah, so I got in about 2019, and I wanted to stay in California. My family's in Sacramento. So I made a goal. As you know, we got into the industry about kind of the same time. I have maybe 1 or 2 years experience more, not that much, but everyone said you kind of have to take that first job. It's not like that anymore from what we've seen. I didn't listen. I was like, I want to stay here in the state that I adore so much, that I understand, again, my family's here. And that's a really big thing I want to stress in this business. And it's okay if you don't have a close relationship with your family, but I come from a super close-knit family. It's just us 3. I'm an only child. So I said I'm going to take a job in California in a teeny market. My first market was Eureka, California, which is way northern California. It's basically Oregon. You don't know what that is.
Yeah.
And I just spent a little time there and left pretty early on and went down to the Central Coast and then came to the Central Valley. So all throughout this wonderful state that we both really, really love. So.
Yeah, like and maybe some folks who are watching know I'm from Glendale, California, which is Southern California.
Love Glendale.
Yep. And
oh my gosh.
You tell me all the time that you love Glendale, you love that Southern California area, you love just the people there too. So that's where I was born, but ended up moving to Vegas when I was about 6 or 7 years old.
Vegas is great too.
Yeah, Vegas is great too. Don't get me wrong. I'm just that's just kind of the back and forth that I would always have, in the summers is going between Vegas, between LA, going back and forth.
Which
obviously.
is also, if you guys don't know, if you have done it, great, but it's an easy flight too, which is amazing. And from Fresno is a super easy flight too.
Yeah.
I do it probably like 3-4 times a year from here to Vegas, about 45 minutes, which isn't bad.
No, it's not bad at all.
So super easy flight.
Sometimes, especially whenever you're between Vegas and LA, sometimes it's best to just drive because you go to the airport and it's so busy. But
you can rent a car and just drive up there.
That's why I like Fresno, because the airport's a lot more, it's more small. There's not a lot of TSA, rigmarole they got to go through.
You really can't get lost at the fat airport. The fat airport.
So funny because in Sioux City, back in my other market,
Yeah.
Sioux City, Iowa's market had one airport, and it only flew to Chicago and Denver.
In Sioux City,
once a day. Yes, in Sioux City, and it was part of this military air refueling wing. Their airport code was SUX. Sucks. Yeah.
Hey, you said it.
I went from sucks to fat, basically.
Hey, you know what? It's all good.
We'll see
and
what
I
the
love
next
our
airport
airport
code
here
is.
too, because I love that tree. Oh, that tree right by the star. If you know, you Fresno natives.
That's
that
right.
tree is my spot. I love the tree.
Yeah, I know. I think I know what you're talking about.
It's right, you can't miss it.
Yeah, before you go into TSA.
It's right there.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I loved about, moving here to Fresno was that, we had the opportunity to go to some of the world's nation's best natural parks, like the Sequoia National Park, the Yosemite National Park.
Yeah.
I mean, you tell me, when you first got to Fresno, and this is something that I can relate to as far as when I got to Fresno, there's so many things to go and do and see. What was that like for you when you first got to Fresno?
It's interesting. I had visited here before during the interview process because I've never really been to Fresno, which a lot of people, if you're not from here, you don't either kind of drive past it or you do a quick day trip. For me, actually, I have had good experiences venturing out to parks and different restaurants, but I've actually really enjoyed the people here the most. Working in smaller markets, I'm sure you've seen that. It's a small town feel, which is super great if you like that. But I really feel like coming to the Central Valley, it has diversity, it has young professionals like about our age, and there's something for everybody here. And I think people forget it's the 5th largest city in California. So it kind of, in my opinion, has something for everybody. So that's my favorite thing. You can look at our newsroom. We have a really interesting bunch, but it's been one of my favorite stops because it's been super easy to make friends here. Yeah. That's been my favorite part. What about you?
Well, the people have also been,
Yeah.
one of my favorite parts. As being an Armenian myself, the Fresno Armenian community, I've not only been embraced by them, but every day it feels like I'm learning something new about them. And for me, what I've learned about the Fresno Armenian community is it's very heavily populated with Western Armenians. And if you don't know, I'm sure you do know, those are Armenians that are coming from, Lebanon, from Syria, from those parts, from, modern day Turkey, that those were Armenians that used to live there. And because of our history, they had to be, moving to different places to survive. And that's what I've learned here is that there's a large population of those people. And it feels like a very familiar situation to me, even though I have also never been to Fresno until I took this job. My first time being in Fresno was when I moved from Vegas, from Iowa to Vegas and then to Fresno, because that was a crazy drive.
I wanted to ask you too, if you don't mind, did your parents immigrate here, or was it your grandparents? Okay, so we have that similarity. My mom was an immigrant from the Philippines, and you have that. How has that been for you? Because we're very pro being with our tradition. We're very big into our families and moving it forward with the new era, with you with Armenians, me with Filipinos and African Americans. How has that been for you to come to a community where we do have a heavy Armenian population? How have you tried to succumb yourself to this lifestyle and do different projects? I mean, how's that been for you?
I mean, it's been great because in Iowa, there were no Armenians. There were really no anybody. There was just really, I don't want to, cast an aspersion over Sioux City, Iowa, but it wasn't that diverse.
But it's a very different region of the nation. I mean, it's the Midwest.
It is, and it honestly felt like I moved to a new country.
Yeah.
Like that was the culture shock that I had because, as much as I grew up in Vegas and there's a lot of diverse people, not just Armenians, and it was only growing as far as the amount of Armenians in Vegas. Once I left and I go to Iowa, it was completely
It's a little bit of a
shell
culture shock.
It was a culture shock, and I remember to this day meeting somebody. My last 2 months in Iowa, I was there for 3 years. My last 2 months in Iowa, I finally found somebody who had been from Armenia, Yerevan, and they moved just a few years ago. Yes.
Yerevan. I love saying that, Yerevan.
You love saying Yerevan.
Isn't it crazy? Can we talk about that for a second? When you are nearing the end of the contract, things always go in your favor. Like, wow, I've been here for X amount of years, and then when I'm getting ready to leave, I meet a connection like that. That happens all the time in TV.
It really does, and it was a bit unfortunate because I wanted to do a story with them just about what it was like moving from 7,000 miles away, and the one place you pick in the entire United States was not even Sioux City, Iowa. It was a smaller town up north, like an hour and a half, called Storm Lake. And it was just this family that, typical Armenian, and it felt like home. It felt very familiar, and that's something that I was missing in Iowa that now I'm getting in Fresno, is that both from the Western and from the Eastern Armenian community, I'm getting that sort of feeling of home because I have that background from both. And I don't know if there's many people that can say that they have the Western and Eastern Armenian background. Typically, and unfortunately, and I'm sure in a lot of other communities this is the case, there's a little bit of back and forth and division to a certain extent between certain groups of people, and that obviously does exist with Eastern and Western to a smaller degree. But for me, I've never really seen it that way. I've always seen it as, the languages are a little bit different, dialects a little bit different, but we all understand each other at the end of the day. Come on.
You do.
And at the end of the day, there's no reason for Armenians in Maine, Armenia, to have a problem with Western Armenians and vice versa, because the Western Armenians are the Armenians that escaped 1915.
Also, Jason is so helpful because Jason
Yeah.
knows I am not afraid to ask questions. So always, thank you so much. If I ever have questions with culture and stuff like that, thank you for always answering that. And Jason knows I love my Kardashians.
Well, of course, yes.
And we both love Kim Kardashian.
Yes.
Let's just put it out there.
Kim Kardashian is our
But
aunt.
one thing, aside from the Kardashians, is I know everyone has an opinion about them. I personally feel, if we're going to focus on Kimberly here, that she does a very good job of like paying it forward with her culture as well. She makes trips to Armenia. She instills that Armenian culture in her children who are biracial. So I think not only is she a good marketing woman, but she really remembers her culture, which I think a lot of celebrities don't really do. They're still not doing it. So it is nice to see someone on that level really pay it forward with being Armenian.
I'm actually so glad that you brought this up, because
you know I'm going to bring up the Kardashians.
This is and I'm
Of
glad
course.
because this is actually a bit of a topic that has kind of circled around the Armenian community that I've noticed, because unfortunately, for one reason or another, there's a bit of mixed feelings between some people in the Armenian community against Kim Kardashian.
Yeah.
Some people think her background and her past completely eliminates her being a good person or allowing her to be a good person. That I'm going to put to the side because I just don't put any value to that.
Sure, yeah.
On top of that, there are some people who will, praise and thank Kim Kardashian for what she did, but then expect double the next time or expect more the next time.
Sure.
And then whenever she doesn't deliver to their liking, then they start turning against her. And for me, that's a bit unfortunate because, especially being in the news and media cycle.
Because you're in a form of TV.
Exactly.
Same
So
business a little
so what does that mean, that there's going to be a precedent set for everybody to just kind of step up to the plate times 2, times 4 every single time? I think it needs to be natural. It needs to come naturally. And ultimately, if people are like begging you to do something and then you go do it, I don't think that's natural. And ultimately, for Kim Kardashian, she didn't succumb to that because people went to her house with like a truck and telling her, hey, make some noise and, raise awareness, which, at the end of the day, as much as that's not her job, she has done that. And because of her, people like you know about the Armenian cause.
Yeah.
And I equate that to still being a step in the right direction, because Kim Kardashian doesn't have to be the only person that does that. She doesn't have to be the only
Absolutely.
person that everybody leans on.
Yeah.
Why can't it be multiple people to get other people interested, like for
Yeah,
you?
And I think it goes for everybody. And I think we're also blessed in the state we live in. It's so diverse, so many walks of life. And a lot of other states have that too. But as we say, California is a melting pot. So I think anytime someone can use that platform, and let's take her out of the equation. I don't care what level you are on in life. You can be in local TV news. I think how you do things, and even with me, it's good to remember and to recognize and pay it forward. I'm super big on paying it forward. My parents always taught me that growing up, like, hey, when you make it, and in my opinion, I'm still not there. And I can proudly say that. There are still a lot of things I want to accomplish. But whether it's booking a guest or just being a role model for some of our local young women, I try to do that because at the end of the day, I think we forget we are on TV. I don't know about you. When I'm live, I don't think about the thousands of eyes that are viewing me. Or when
I don't think about it anymore.
You don't. Yeah, it's weird. I promise you all at home, you don't think about it. But I think a lot of people can learn any platform you have. It doesn't have to be TV. Just use it for good and try to pay it forward, because at the end of the day, I think when you do things honestly, the outcome is always amazing. So.
I agree.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I think everybody needs to understand, is that honesty is the best policy, especially when it comes to
It can be hard
these
to
type of
do,
things.
and
It
sometimes
can be.
you may get some haters from being honest. Let's put it out there. Sometimes
Yes.
when you're doing things
Yes.
a certain way, not everyone is receptive to it.
Agreed.
But I've always learned if you'll never get in trouble for saying your truth, and as long as you're doing things the right way, I think you'll make some good friends along the way too.
Yeah, and that's something that I just try to hold myself to. Is
We're getting
honesty.
Jason better at that too.
Getting me better at that?
Yeah, just not caring what others think and
Yes,
everything
yes.
like that. It's very hard in TV though.
No,
so.
it is very hard, especially
Yeah.
whenever you have a lot of people that message you, and I'm sure you have this as well. Whenever you either have a story that you do, you have the Educator of the Week series that you do, for
Yeah.
example, and you go to these communities and you have these stories that you tell with these people and make these sort of bonds, and then you go on TV and you anchor, and then let's say you kick butt. Right, you do a great job,
Sure.
and then you get an email, and it's like, that was fantastic. I mean, I'm sure those messages as well, or those sort of relationships, text messages from family or friends, those are the type of things that also help us keep going.
It's also the messages, because there's a saying, right? We get a lot of interesting emails into our newsroom.
Yes, we
and
do.
I always tell some of the younger folks, I just turned 30 about a few weeks ago, and I know I'm not that gracious yet with old age, but you'll never hear the good you're doing, right? It's always the bad email. It's always the bad DM. But I think it's important to recognize that there are people that you'll never hear from that are rooting for you in silence and that are at their homes like, hey, that was a great story. And sometimes you have to hold on to that. So something I've done is the few emails I've gotten here, I make like a little folder. And if I'm ever feeling discouraged, like, oh, I don't like how I anchored today, or I'm just not having the best day, or things just aren't working in my favor, hold on to like those little emails. And you may only get them once every 6 months, right? You may not even see them for a year. But let that be a little reminder to you that someone is rooting for you and they do like you. And at the end of the day, don't focus on the negative because it's going to eat you up.
Yeah,
so that's
absolutely.
another bit of advice I can give to anybody that's a career woman or a male is hold on to the little things because they'll really help in the long run too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good advice, and that's something that I'm still, following myself, because in Iowa, although, I have good memories and not so good memories, there are still, those moments and memories that I've made and like cards that I've received. For example, there was a veteran story that I did, and it was my first Veterans Voices.
Best too, veterans
yeah,
stories. They're just the sweetest to work with.
It was the sweetest, and it turned out to be really, really special because I ended up doing an interview with, I think, a 91-year-old man who was a World War II Navy pilot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and the next week after the show or the story aired, I got a message from my general manager. He's like, hey, we got a letter in the mail for you.
Oh.
Gives it to me. I open it up, and it was his son writing about how
That's
grateful they were for this. And it's things like that that really keep us going.
Mm-hmm, because we don't hear it a lot. And we're not in this for that. We're not in it for the clout, for the good emails and the good DMs. But it is nice to hear from time to time.
Yeah, I think we need to remember that we're human at the end of the day.
Yes.
And, when it comes to the news and how demanding news is and how we have so many different people that we have to work with, so many different stories we have to align and just make sure that we have our ducks in a row, we tend to forget to just be like, hey, good job. Hey, good stuff.
Or just saying it to each other in house. My parents are both in managerial roles, and they tell me it costs nothing to say good job. Or just, how are you doing today? I think that goes a really long way. So it is nice to see a lot of the folks we have here, they do that as well. And we've done it with each other and other teammates here. So that's nice. Everyone needs that sometimes.
No, we all of us do need that for sure, because it gives us a little bit of an extra push.
Yeah, exactly.
Now I want to shift gears, and I want to talk a little bit more about your background, because you did allude to it, that you're mixed. You're half African American, half Asian and Filipino, correct?
Yeah, my mom is 100% Filipino, born in Manila, and moved here when she was like 8 or 9, I think.
Okay, so your mom, she moved here whenever she was
a kid, but has enough memories from the Philippines to like share stories with me. So that's nice.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Did you guys? Did she hold the language at all?
So as you know, when you don't speak something, you kind of forget it.
Right.
So over the years, she has sort of forgotten. But one thing I love that both my parents have done, and that's what I love about being mixed, and this can be if you're mixed with anything out there, you really get the best of both worlds. So for me, it is nice to have like an immigrant parent and a dad who was born in America, and to have that mix. And at times it can clash, but I am so happy that I have traditions from both sides. And I don't know if you feel like this, but just having an immigrant parent, I think, is super different. So what do I mean when I say that, right? I think the love is so strong because you're their legacy. You're the reason they came here was for better life. Yeah. And so to this day, I talk to my mom on a weekly basis, and she has just done so much for me, and I have the utmost respect for her because I know she came here with nothing. Yeah. So it's always important to remember every step I make in this business, everything I do, and it's also for my father as well. But if my mom never made that scary journey here with her siblings back in the late 60s, I wouldn't be here. Right. So that's also a good thing to just remember, and I think also when you have an immigrant parent, it's giving a lot of grace because they don't maybe have the traditional American way. And so I tell this with anybody, especially when you're like the first child, you're your parents' first everything. So I think that's important, where I kind of had issues where my friends were very Americanized, and I would get upset like, Mom, why can't I go to the sleepover? Or why can't I stay out late? And immigrant parents can typically be a little stricter, right?
Yes.
So,
yes.
and as frustrated as I used to get, I just had to remember, hey, she came from a completely different area of the world, right? So it was giving grace growing up. But now that I'm 30, I'm so glad she was like that because I credit her for why I'm here today. Yeah, and my dad too, of course.
Absolutely. And I think, even though we are from different backgrounds, we have similar experiences in that regard because of, again, like you said, that immigrant parent experience that we have where, you know, they're bringing the old culture and their traditions to modern day, and then our American friends that we're going to school with in school, they don't understand that. They don't understand that. They barely know about our background, and whenever they look at us, they just think we're something that we aren't. I remember being called Mexican all the time, and just you know, being assumed and just talking people.
And
speaking
I also
Spanish
want to bring that up. I totally don't get offended when I've been in every market. A lot of people hesitate whether I'm at an event or whatever. I don't know if you're like this. I do not get shy if people ask what are you. I'd rather you ask than assume. So I think there's a lot of hesitation, but I am so open to being like, oh yeah, I'm Black and Filipino. So I don't know if you're like that. Like I don't mind answering it at all.
It's not just me. Yeah. Every Armenian is like that. They want people to know that they are Armenian, and they want that to be an opportunity to teach people about it, because people don't really know too much about Armenians unless you know somebody personally, you know a celebrity, or one of those two.
What is something that even in 2025, because as we've seen, it's an ever-changing world, that you've taken from like maybe traditional Armenian culture to like your life now?
That's a good question. I mean, because whenever we're talking about traditional Armenian culture, there's multiple events throughout the year that happen.
Especially here in the Central Valley.
Right. And for example, Vartavar happens in summer, which is basically an opportunity to throw water at each other. And it's in the summer.
Can I participate?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, awesome.
And
okay,
I think
I'm
there's
there.
a big one happening in Southern California, and I hope there's one happening in Fresno. But you know, we'll find out about that.
What is the reason for throwing the water? Is it?
I think it's you know, cleansing and, you know, washing things away,
so
wash
like
everything away.
act right.
Exactly. Exactly.
That sounds great.
It's funny that you actually took the water bottle out like that when somebody gets a new
car. Thank God the cap was on too.
When somebody gets a new, I know, right?
That would have been messy.
Yeah, this is not a 3D or 4D, you know, podcast
No,
yet.
very new equipment in here.
But exactly, no, literally they just changed the wires today. Like 5
Thank you,
minutes
Jason.
ago.
Thank you for telling me that.
Yeah, of course. Like you said, the cap's on. But again, you know, whenever somebody gets a new car, there's something that we Armenians do traditionally. Like we get like an evil eye for somebody, or you throw water behind their car whenever they're driving away, or you put like a little bit of money, like a $20 bill in their car.
I like that.
And that's something that's like really cool.
And
like
the evil eye, correct me if I'm wrong, is to keep just bad vibes away or bad spirits and keep the
devil,
aura.
Everybody, you know, jealousy, just the bad energy.
Bad energy.
Away.
I like that.
That's and that's something that you know, I have in my car, for example. I have a cross as well. You know, that part of being Armenian is also being true to your faith. And I'll be honest, I still need to find a church that I can regularly go to in Fresno, or maybe drive out a little bit, because I did that story in Yedem, and that was an amazing experience. So maybe driving 40 minutes to Yedem here and there is not that bad of an idea.
Hey, you know, and if it's for a good church visit, why not?
And again, you know, I don't think I'm 100% fluent on Western or Eastern Armenian, and I think that's something that I need to take upon myself to also continue, because as much as I'm first generation Armenian American, I know that if I stay in this country and I have kids, then their Armenian might be even worse than mine if things just stay the way that they are.
Can we talk about that for a second too? Like making sure we pay it forward. Like I don't have kids, you don't have kids, but if it does happen one day, I really want to instill a lot of traditional Filipino, we call it Pinoy, values in them, also Black as well. But I think that's so important, because again, every generation gets a little farther and farther away from it. And so I'm with you. I would definitely want to give them traditional values and just have them remember their culture.
Well, let's get a little more candid. Even though we're getting towards like the tail end of the show, our generation and the generation before us, it feels like they have lost the meaning of culture, and they've lost the meaning of upholding tradition, and people have become very selfish, and I think that's part of it too. So I think when it comes to, you know, the traditions you want to pass down to your child, the traditions I want to pass down to my child, you know, it's important to have our partners be in line with that, and then also, you know, uphold that for ourselves to be a representation for our kids and be a role model. I think, you know, I credit my mom specifically for being a role model. And thank you. And she's come over to the station and met everybody.
She seems sweet. We haven't met yet, but she seems super sweet.
She's actually going to be flying in at the time of recording tomorrow, so maybe
we go. You have to just bring her by.
Yeah, maybe we'll bring her by and say hi and everything. That'd be awesome. But yeah, where were we? She was the reason why I got closer to my Armenian, you know, culture and faith and everything, and especially because of our history. You know, learning it through her and learning it through, you know, her example of, you know, being a good Armenian, but also being, you know, a good American as well, because she assimilated here, and now her English is really, really good.
That's
Even though
awesome.
if you talk to her, she knows that I picked on her when I was a child as far as.
Oh, we all did it.
Oh, we all did
It's
it.
Fine. It's fine.
It's a shared experience for all
Yeah.
of us immigrant kids, for sure. But, you know, that's what I credit it to is just, you know, parents being the role models, and that is something for us to also take up upon ourselves, because as much as we like to think that, oh, it's just going to happen on ourselves,
And I think
itself,
it's definitely a case by case. Again, we can't like always speak for other people, but I think the family foundation in the home is super big. And I think there's a level of curiosity. You would almost like want to know certain things, ask questions. That's what our job is, right? Always asking questions.
Yes.
So it's interesting you say that. I have seen that a little bit, but I think like what we said, it's on us to pay it forward with stuff like that. And if someone is receptive to it.
Of course.
So yeah, definitely.
Of course. Now I have to say that I think I know a little bit of Filipino.
Tagalog.
Tagalog.
It's okay that you say that because there's different dialects.
Right. So tell me if I'm wrong. Mabuhay, is that Tagalog?
I don't know. I only really know Tagalog.
Oh,
but this is the thing. I only know like certain words. So I'm
Gotcha.
over here. I want to learn more.
Gotcha. So the reason I say that is because growing up in middle school, especially middle school and high school in Vegas, there was a lot of Filipinos. So I was exposed to that culture and the food as well. Pancit, I love pancit and adobo.
Good.
Oh my gosh,
Lumpia?
So good. Good stuff.
Is it lunchtime? We're getting hungry.
No,
here.
it actually is. But I was going to actually question you about that too, as far as Armenian culture and food and that sort of that region. Like, is there a food that stands out to you that you love?
So halo halo is like our traditional Filipino ice cream, if you could say. And the thing that's cool about it is there's so many ways you can make it. But it's like a little bit of, you could put beans in it, ice cream, bananas, different candies. So again, everyone makes halo halo super different. But I haven't had it in a few years, but I remember my childhood, I'd pick out the beans because I didn't like the beans.
Yeah.
And I would eat it. It's like our ice cream, basically.
Nice.
And same thing, pancit is probably my favorite. I'm a pasta person. You can ask anyone in the newsroom. I'm always eating pasta or salad.
Yes.
And so that's really
Always
good.
finds you at an Italian restaurant.
Oh, yeah. You know that, yeah.
You know
I love
that,
noodles.
Exactly. No, but I have to ask
Yeah.
you, you know, being in the Central Valley, have you been exposed to the Armenian cuisine as well? Have you?
So I will
some
say
food?
yes. It's interesting with KC Mornings. We do a lot of cooking segments because in the morning everyone loves cooking shows.
Yes.
So we have had a couple people on that are Armenian that have cooked. I have liked it. It seems very meat based to me. Is that correct? Or
There's definitely a lot of meat based to it.
Yeah.
A lot of olive oil is used, but vegetables too. So you have like you got to think about it like Armenia is highlands with a lot of mountains, a lot of farmland. So you're gonna get something very similar to almost what you find here in the Central Valley.
yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of like the connection too. with
I will
Armenians here.
say I have a lot, and my viewers know I have a lot of food allergies. So I always have to ask, like, what exactly is in this? Because I have a really bad peanut allergy too. So yeah, that's why I'm always asking. But what I have tasted, I have really liked.
There you go. Well, the good thing is there's not too many peanuts in Armenian.
Exactly.
cuisine.
So that's why I'm like, now that I'm thinking about it, the Armenian food I've tasted had never had nuts, so we're good.
Well, then that's a good thing. Well,
Yeah.
We are coming to the end of the show, Taryn. I can't thank you enough for being on the show.
Oh, it's been
and being,
fun. I've been wanting to come on.
My fifth guest on the show. I really appreciate it, and I hope to have you on maybe sometime soon. And,
Hey, you let me know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for coming in early to work.
Well,
to film this segment. See, everyone, we don't see each other, so I
Yeah.
have to ask him to come in early on his. It's not your day off, but it's just a regular day for you.
It's a regular day, but I'll be here until midnight.
Sorry, Jason.
It's okay. That's the grind that I have signed up for. Well, thank you so much, Taryn, for being on the talk show.
Thanks, Jason.
And we look forward to seeing what you do.
See you next time.
And I'll see you next time.